What's going on, guys? This is Dave from PNP, and I'm here to talk to you about Underdog Fantasy. I just want to remind you that's the easiest place to play. There ain't too many places where you can win 20 times your money in the same night, utilizing higher lowers in the pick'em game. And now they have pick'em insurance, where while you won't win the same amount of money that you did before, you can miss one and still bring home some money. So if you do it 3 times, you can potentially still get your money back if you end up missing one. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up today and use the code PNP when you do. And the $100 deposit match still stands. Underdog Fantasy.
Panther Nation Podcast. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, cut it. Cut right. And I would like to introduce one of the hottest podcasts in Carolina history. Let's go. Yeah. Talk less chat. We got time to chop it up. Talking analytics and fantasy draft. You know what's up. Panther Nation representing. Cause this is where we talk that. Talk that's so incredible. Make them rewind that talk back. Pause. Talking Panthers football, we discussing it all. On and off the field, you know exactly who to call. You know we the #1 podcast. Competition is non-existent, you need to stop that. Pause. It's an honor to be a Panther fan, pause. At Bank of America, that is where we ball. Coming to the jungle, then you gonna feel the pause. Winning the trophy for the city, it is the call. Black, white, and blue, we going Carolina strong. And this is the conversation where everyone belongs. Discussing all the numbers and topics, you know we got it. We the hottest podcast, and we poppin', let's go.
Good morning. All right, so let's get into it. I'm watching I got the London game in my ear just to hear the highlights of what's going on in the game. Daniel Jones is pretty much in pass throwing the ball mode right now. I think Barclay is still getting an opportunity, but it's not nearly where I wanted to be. I know Noli wasn't too thrilled about what's going on with Dylan. Well, not honestly, dude. Once Montgomery's back, you do start Montgomery over Dylan. But you gave me the choice of Herbert or Dylan earlier in the week, so that's why I said Dylan. Montgomery. I think you got to start Montgomery if he's healthy. So I know you probably started Dylan, but you gotta start Montgomery over Dylan. But I think this week is a wait and see type of situation, only because you don't know how that split's going to be. I anticipate Montgomery's going to get the bulk of the load, but we'll see. No, you don't drop AJ Dillon. Believe it or not, AJ Dillon's getting up damn near the same work as Jones. I've always felt like AJ Dillon was more of a flex play than anything else. Flex play to RB2. But it's all about how he takes advantage of the carries that he has. That's what it typically boils down to when it comes to A.J. Dillon. I think you gave up too much, bro. I mean, yeah, I think you gave up too much. But it all depends on what your running back situation, who your backup quarterback is. I feel like you gave up too much, but I can understand why you did this if you felt like you wanted to upgrade at wide receiver. Jeff Wilson over Gabe Davis. The thing about Gabe Davis, man, he doesn't get that much targets than you think. He doesn't get that many targets, but his targets are very valuable. He doesn't get more than 5 targets a game. Jeff Wilson's been getting the bulk of the work in San Francisco. I know Carolina's defense has been playing great, but I still would take Jeff Wilson. We've never played a run. The running game that we're going to deal with this week against San Francisco, the Carolinas got to deal with this week against San Francisco, is the best running offense in the NFL. The only other one that's comparable at this rate is probably when we played Saquon Barkley. Even Saquon got his, and when we played Cleveland earlier in the first week of the season. So they're on that realm. So I think Jeff Wilson's going to be able to get his this week. I'm interested to see how what they do with Brian Robinson. I didn't play Antonio Gibson once I heard that Brian Robinson was getting involved because I don't know what the split's going to be. I'm worried that the Washington situation might be a 3-headed monster. I'm very afraid of that. I told you guys last week to go get Brian Robinson. I told you guys last week, probably the week before that, to go if Brian Wilds is available, this is the time to get him, because you try to wait until you hear that he's back, it'll be too late because everybody's already got him. Now you can't sit him. If Brown's active, you got to play him. If St. Brown's active, you got to play him. You cannot sit him. You cannot sit him. Especially since I think they're missing a receiver this week. I think Chark is declared out. I think Hawkinson's going to be a good option, but with St. Brown there, St. Brown's going to get his target share, so you can't sit him. I would start Pierce till we get a monitor, but I mean, I'm playing Montgomery in some leagues this week, man, because I have to. I ain't got a choice. And I want to go back to the person asking about dropping A.J. Dillon. Bye weeks start next week. And I promise you that when bye weeks start next week, A.J. Dillon might be your best option. Like, I think the reason – I'm going to give you guys a quick ticker when it comes to bye weeks for me. The reason why I typically only roster one quarterback – well, let me do it this way. The reason why I only typically roster one quarterback and one tight end is because I want to build depth at the running back and wide receiver position during the bye weeks. I want to have the advantage during the bye weeks. So to get the advantage during the bye weeks, it's important to have depth. And it's always important to catch the waiver and see people dropping people in a panic. And dropping A.J. Dillon would fall under the line of dropping people in a panic. A.J. Dillon is getting a pretty good share of the work in Green Bay. He just hasn't been able to get into the end zone. But he's getting what you want to see. He's just not going the way you think. But he's going to probably get more carries than the other options that's probably sitting on your bench when bye week comes, when your Dalvin Cook's not available, when your Christian McCaffrey's not available, because week 6 there's going to be, but next week starts the bye week run. So this is where you got to think about that. Traded Saquon and Stafford for Taylor and Hurts. Thoughts? If Taylor's out for multiple weeks, bro, you might have lost that trade. I think Hurts is going to be fine, but Saquon's the number one running back in fantasy. I question whether or not you got enough because Taylor's been underwhelming. So just keep that in mind. I know you probably did it because you were worried about the injury bug, but at the same time, the guy that didn't play last Thursday was Jonathan Taylor. I don't know if I don't think Dylan's gotten a TD yet. No, I don't think Dylan gotten a TD yet. Yeah, Dylan, I'm looking at his stat line right now. I understand why people are frustrated. He hasn't gotten any targets yet, and he's only gotten 4 carries. But you know this guy, you know it's all about the game flow when it comes to these running backs. So you got to keep that in mind. I mean, it's a pretty good trade, but I think you're banking that Jonathan Taylor is going to pick it up. And you're banking that Jonathan Taylor is going to be back next week. We'll see. Saquon's been playing ice out too. But Aaron Jones looks like he's getting the bulk of the work this week, so. I want to look at the box score from Thursday night's game. Let's pull that up real quick because there were some interesting things that I saw out of this box score that makes me feel a certain way. I said it on Twitter, but while we wait for 11:30 to hit, I'll just talk about it real fast. So give me 1 second to pull it up. Let's see here. We'll pull this up. Bear with me for a second. Let's see. Box score. We'll do a quick share. All right, let's go over this real quick. Connor or Elliott, 4-point PPR. Give me Connor today. Give me Connor. All right, so let's look at this real quick. I think the first couple things I noticed. We'll start with Indianapolis. God, Matt Ryan is terrible, and I know he was going up against Denver's defense, but I think he's been very disappointing. When you talk about the run game for Indianapolis, if Nyheim Hines can't play, if Hines is able to play next week and Taylor is still out, I think. Oh, look at that! There goes AJ Dillon. You guys hating on Dillon? He's getting some love right now. I think Deion Jackson is the guy that you want. Deion Jackson got 4 targets. Deion Jackson got 13 carries. So even if Hines is playing, I think I like Deion Jackson a lot, because considering that Hines went out after 2 plays, that tells me that it's very possible that they're going to probably be a little bit more cautious with him. So if you're going to go grab a running back in Indianapolis, I think I want to get Deion Jackson. I don't want to drop Hines yet, but I just think that they're trying to be careful with Hines from that aspect. So just keep that in mind. As for wide receivers, Alec Pierce has officially become interesting in Indianapolis. He got more targets than Michael Pittman. So that's something to keep an eye on from that standpoint. So just keep that in mind when you talk about the wide receiver position in Indy, when you start thinking about who you want to get in waivers and the thought process, particularly for Jonathan Taylor owners. I'm hoping that Taylor is back next week, but just in case he's not, I think Deion Jackson is probably the guy you might want to consider getting. Now, as for the Broncos, I'm off Russell Wilson at this point. I'm off him. I was kind of cautious with him anyway, but I'm definitely off him at this rate. Back to this question. So but the thing is, there's probably some better quarterback. So when you talk about upgrading your position, there's probably better quarterbacks than Stafford in the wire. Like at this point, if I'm somebody that had Stafford, I would be streaming week to week if you have faith that Saquon is going to stay healthy and keep rolling. Now, if you don't have faith that Saquon is going to stay healthy and keep rolling, I would agree that I would rather have Taylor and Hurts long term, because then you got your quarterback situation fixed and you got a top 5 QB. But from the standpoint of the quarterback position, if Stafford was your starter, you can find something to comparably get better than that on your wire. I can promise you can. And you can find a guy week to week. Gabe Davis or Michael Gallup. Give me Gallup for this one, because I think Gallup would get more targets. I'm not a fan of neither one this week, but because Gallup will get more targets because Ramsey is going to be on Lamb. And I think I probably will play Terry over both of them, only because Terry's going to get the target share. Dotson's out for Washington for the Commanders. So I think I would probably prefer McLaurin over both of them. I would probably prefer McLaurin over both of them. Teddy Bridgewater or Derek Carr, give me Teddy Bridgewater this week. Teddy Bridgewater's going up against the Jets. That's all I got. Corey Davis or Gabe Davis? Corey Davis. Corey Davis is going to get the target share. Might be playing from behind against Miami. Going to get the target opportunity. Corey Davis is the top 20 wide receiver in fantasy football right now, guys. I mean, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. I would take Pickens here. It looks like Breece Hall has taken over the job with the Jets. And with the Jets likely playing from behind, I think they're more comfortable with playing Breece Hall. I like Singletary this week. You're way more optimistic than me, buddy. All right, back to the Denver Broncos situation over here. So Melvin Gordon is the guy that you have to play but I would monitor the Mike Boone situation. I think over time, Mike Boone might take over that job. But right now, Gordon is going to get every opportunity to be the top guy, so he's going to get all the work. Melvin Gordon and Mike Boone have the same amount of targets. Melvin Gordon got 15 carries, though, to Mike Boone's 7. So when you take those things into account, I like Melvin Gordon for now, but monitor the Mike Boone situation. I'm off Jerry Jeudy. Sutton's your guy. If there's one guy that I'm dependable on, there's two. Like I said on Twitter that I would only play Sutton. I'm backing off. I'm cool with playing Gordon too as a flex low end RB2 type of situation. But Sutton is trustable because he's getting the target share. I trust no other receivers other than Sutton from that standpoint. And that's the Colts in Denver. Let me pull up the waiver wire, the inactives. Let's pull up the inactives. All right, right now we don't have the inactives up yet, but we ain't got no updates yet, so we'll keep an eye on that for the time being. Gerald Everett, low key, has been balling out of his mind right now, but I still think I will play Schultz this week. Low key, Gerald Everett is balling right now. Let me show you how he's balling. Since I'm here and all, let me show you why. Let me show you how. I'm here to show data. I like data, so I don't want to just say things in a vacuum, but I just want to show you how Everett is balling, because I don't think people realize how good he's been. Let's see here. Bear with me, guys, while I figure this out. All right. When you look at here who the top 5 guys are, Everett's number 6. I mean, the problem, Schultz is all the way down here, man. Did I miss him? Am I tripping? Oh, Schultz has been super disappointing. But the dilemma that you have is when you look at the targets. Oh, nah, you got to, my bad. I'm backpedaling. Yeah, you got to go with Everett. Give me Everett over Schultz easily. He's not getting enough. He's not getting enough. So give me Everett over Schultz. All right. Look, man, I think there's a portion of the Panther fan base that has some hope, man. There's some folks that believe that Rule's going to turn this around. I'm just not one of them at this rate. You know, you have every reason to believe that he's going to turn this around. Man, this is an interesting one. Josh Jacobs has been very much better than we thought he would be. So, you know, from that standpoint, you know, he's been way better. I mean, he's a top 10 guy. I got to say Josh Jacobs, don't I? Even if you go per game, you got to go Josh Jacobs. And per game means, you know, games that you play, obviously. Kamara has been an extreme disappointment considering where you had to take him. So, yeah, I got to take Josh Jacobs this week. I mean, we can have a discussion point about how folks feel about Kamara. Yeah, so Josh Jacobs is going to get a lot of work against Kansas City because you know that the Raiders are going to want to slow the game down. So, from that standpoint, Jacobs is going to be the workhorse. A nice trade asset, nice guy to trade for too, with the bye week approaching. Now I'm going to tell you guys something about bye weeks, man. This is where trades reign supreme. This is where we're going to get a lot of trade offers. Your trade offer game is going to go up because a lot of people are going to realize how many folks need people. So when you start taking those things into account, that's going to change the game when it comes to it. So just keep that in mind when you make the decision on who you want to trade for. Let's go back to the inactives. Here's my inactive list. Just so you know, Julio Jones has already been ruled out. Looks like Tyreek Hill will play. He is not inactive. We know Tua's going to be out. But I do like Teddy Bridgewater today against the Jets. So when you look at the Patriots, no surprise there. Bailey Zappi is going to start this week. Nice little sleeper play if you're down for that. I might put some lineups in with Mr. Zappi. With regards to Buffalo, no surprises there. Dawson Knox is out. McKenzie is out. That's going to be interesting. I think that's why a lot of people are hyping up with Gabe Davis, but I think Crowder could benefit more than Davis could this week. So just keep that in mind. You know, Diggs is going to get his. The backup tight end for Buffalo is interesting too. I think Devin Singletary is going to benefit a lot, getting some catches out the backfield. They might leverage the backup running back as well. So just keep that in mind. So when you talk about some of the 4 o'clock games about who's going to play, it looks like CeeDee Lamb is absolutely going to play. I don't think you have to worry about that. Feel free to ask questions about anything that I've heard with regards to that. I told you earlier that Dotson's out. I think that will benefit Terry McLaurin. I think that will help him out a lot from that standpoint. That's less, so that means you might have an opportunity to get more targets today. I was surprised how much Jags D was out there, man. I grabbed Jags D everywhere I could because Jags D might be an opportunity long term. You might complain him every week. Look, man, you can have dreams, but dreams don't keep the lights on. Always remember that. It's a proverb. That's a proverb. I tell you guys, when I go over my fantasy breakdowns and go over my fantasy strategies, I tell you guys all the time, I'm only taking one quarterback and I'm only taking one tight end. And I do that because I feel like it ain't worth getting depth in those positions. I'm in one league where somebody has Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson at quarterback. And some people will say, oh no, maybe he needs to trade one of them away. I'm not going to be the guy to do it because I know what it's going to take to get him. But I'm fine if somebody else is willing to give up their life to go get one of those quarterbacks. But at the same time, it's helpful because I know I'm only going to have to run into one of those guys once because one guy has both of them. And I'm fine with that. That's the type of math I'm thinking about when I see folks play backup quarterbacks. It's a waste of my time to put a roster spot on that when we got to have running back depth and wide receiver depth because you got to start 2 or 3 of them each week. So you got to have that so you can have your team prepared. You can leverage that during the bye weeks. That's why you do it. It's easy to find a replacement tight end. It's easy to find a replacement quarterback. It's not easy to find a replacement running back or wide receiver. That's why I only have one defense, one kicker, one tight end, one quarterback. And the rest of them are split between running backs and wide receivers. That's why I draft how I draft. It's a waste of a roster spot to me. And then you're going to have to end up dropping one of them when you get in a bind. If you got like 5 people on bye one week, you're going to have to drop one. Something's going to have to give. Either you're going to drop him or you're going to trade him for less than what he's worth. Pick your poison. You're going to have to do it. Or you make the decision to play without a running back, and that's silly. Or wide receiver, and that's silly. So that's my strategy when it comes to that. That's why I prey on bye weeks, because I know I drafted better than everybody else. I know I have. So I'm not worried. I know I drafted better than everybody else. Because most folks have backup positions in places where they don't need it. Now, sometimes I'll grab a backup quarterback if there's somebody that's out there in the wire that I like, and it just so happens that individual is in a different bye week and my quarterback's bye week is approaching, I would do it for that time only. But other than that, I'm not sitting on a quarterback for the entire season, a backup quarterback the entire season. That's not what I do. Well, I noticed that. Yo, man, and I love him for it. He's doing me a favor. He's doing you a favor. I love it because especially if you drafted 4 good ones, that means there's 3 of them that I ain't got to worry about each week, and I can have a chance to take advantage of it. So it's all about perspective of how you execute when it comes to this thing. That's where I've always been when it comes to that. Yeah, if Barclay's shaking up, man, we'll be having a different discussion. I mean, how bad was it? I missed it because I was looking at the screen. How bad was it? Let me go check. Let me refresh the Inactives real quick. We already knew about Julio. I told you about that. Logan Commons is inactive as well. More reason why I like my guy this week. McLaurin. I might be sitting Marquise Brown today because of Philadelphia, and I might play McLaurin instead. I'm still debating that right now. I got until 1 o'clock to decide. That's my debate of the morning, so to speak. Oh, if it's just his ribs, he'll be back. He'll be back. If it's ribs, he'll be back. He's a tough guy. Amari Cooper is getting the target share. I mean, you can decide about how you feel about the quarterback position, but he's getting the target opportunity. So I'm thinking low-end wide receiver 2 flex. He's done pretty well so far, so he's getting the area. He's getting the opportunity there. Let me give you an example who's on bye next week. The Minnesota Vikings are on bye next week. Barclay's out of the blue tent. He coming. You're making me look down now. It looks like Barclay might return very soon. I think if they get this first down, we might see Barclay in the next wave. St. Brown. Give me Amari Brown over Devontae Smith today. Raiders on bye. No Justin Jacobs next week. All right. Bellinger got it. Let's see if Barclay comes back in. Oh, Vikings is set week 7. I apologize. I started looking long-term to figure out who I needed to make moves for. You're not screwed if you got a good bench. You're not screwed if you got a good bench, buddy. And just remember, your opponent's got to deal with the bye week too. But I know week 7, I'm going up against Josh Allen, and I have Justin Jefferson in one of my leagues. So I'll take that trade any day. I don't have Jefferson. You don't have Josh Allen. I'll take that trade. And I think he's got a lot of Eagles players. So he's got like 5 people on bye, including folks on his bench on bye. So I'm looking at it like, I'm in. Let's go. I'm always in. I'm always in for it. All right. So the Raiders and Detroit are on bye. So that means no Jamal Williams. Swift's been out for weeks, so you already been down with that. No Justin Jacobs, no Devontae Adams, no Jared Goff, who is right now a top 10 quarterback in fantasy. By the way, somebody that wasn't drafted, which goes back to my discussion point about why you need a backup quarterback when you have people like Jared Goff being a top 10 guy, and most folks got him on waivers because nobody drafted him. But that's why my attitude is my attitude when it comes to the quarterback position. All right, so Barkley's got a shoulder injury, so we'll see if he decides to come back. He's questionable to return. So if he's got a shoulder injury, that might be a little bit different. I don't think he's Emmitt Smith from that standpoint. I don't think he's Emmitt Smith tough, so we'll see. But yeah, man, so this Tuesday's episode, Tuesday night, is going to be more about the art of the bye. I'm going to focus on the bye because typically if my team starts slow, if my team's 1-4 or 2-3 or even 0-5, the bye week is typically my opportunity to make my return. I typically try to leverage the people that's hurting on bye and try to trade and take advantage. I try to make the decision on what I want to do with my team at that point, especially if I'm 0-5. So yeah, St. Brown is active. So as discussed, with St. Brown being active, you play him. There should be no debate. He was a wide receiver 1 when healthy. He was the top 5 wide receiver when healthy. You must play him. There's no debate here. This week, Vikings against the Bears. I like the Vikings against the Bears. Yeah, they're saying shoulder questionable to return from Mr. Barclay. Yeah. They might let him. He really wants to come back in, so we'll see what happens with that. I think he might come back, man. I know it says he's questionable right now, but depending on how this game goes, he might be back. And Daniel Jones is out here trying to be a hero. I liked him as a streamer play this week too, by the way, guys. So you can always find a streamer, man, during the buys, which is why I'm not really that aggressive when it comes to getting quarterback. The problem is that Lamar Jackson, the offense that the Ravens play, is either a 3-and-out situation or big plays, so the defense don't get time to rest. So which gives the other team opportunities to take advantage of that. So I'm hesitant on that. I'd rather have the Vikings. So it's all about situational stuff from that standpoint. There aren't too many defenses that's dependable on a week-to-week basis. Like the Buffalo's dependable. Jacksonville's probably a dependable defense at this rate. Those type of defenses. But when you talk about, or even Philadelphia right now, but when you talk about a defense that's a streamer, that leans towards the Ravens. It's based on the matchup, which is why I like the Vikings this week. You know what I'm saying? I like San Fran's defense this week too, but San Fran is probably more leaning towards somebody that you can probably start week to week because of how the 49ers offense likes to play. They like to slow the game down. They occasionally have big plays, but they prefer to slow the game down. Let the defense rest and beat the crap out of you. So they don't give up too many points. Those are the type of defenses I prefer on a week-to-week basis. Oh, that's a good one by Daniel. That was a good throw by Daniel Jones right there, buddy. Okay, I need to do some lineups before I close out because I see an opportunity here, but I got to put some dough in my account. Bear with me for a second, guys. I'm trying to join my lineup, trying to join my gigs this week. I'm gonna put some lineups together. I'll try to do single entry type of gigs, so that's what I'm trying to jump in real quick. I'm always a single entry guy. I'm willing to take the risk. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would take a chance on that. Absolutely. Ooh. Jags is top 5. So absolutely I would take a chance on them. Because I'm pretty sure it's a safe bet. You don't have a defense better than them right now. It is a very safe bet. It'd be nice if my man and my buddy gets in, but I don't think that's going to happen. All right. If you already had Eagles, then you good, bro. Eagles is a good one too. You don't need both. I can't believe I'm saying this. Give me Miles Sanders. And y'all know how I feel about Miles Sanders for those who've been watching me. Yeah, like if you already got Eagles, man, you good. You ain't even really got to go be chasing Jags defense if you already got the Eagles. Like, don't waste your roster spot on that. All right, what time is it? All right, around 12:15, 12:20, I'm gonna get my lineups rocking so I just bought a bunch of lineups, so I'm gonna put some together and see how it goes. Do some quick check what my situation is. Daniel Jones is out here playing lights out, man. And this game flow is going to help out A.J. Dillon, too. Smart man. This is a great game, man. Very intense game. You guys ain't got no more questions, man. I'm gonna close out. Let me check. Let me pull up the Let me do one more refresh. This should cover all the games for this week. I don't think I'm going to see any surprises. No big surprises. Nothing crazy. Brightwell got it. That should have been Saquon, man, but it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, but that's with anybody, bro. Anybody can get hurt at any time. And we all know that. You can say the same thing about McCaffrey. And right now, McCaffrey was the 5th best running back in fantasy. But look, man, I love it. This is going to be a good game. It gives Saquon more opportunity to potentially come back. But I have a feeling that the Giants ain't going to let him back in. I mean, you could argue it. I mean, it's legitimate. But when you start sitting down and see the running back situation as a whole has been underwhelming across the board. Like, if you look at the scoring leaders at the running back position, I mean, we'll just go by fantasy points for now, granted, a lot of folks who haven't played yet, but if you look at the numbers, give me 1 second to change this. I think I should be able to change this real quick. I guess I cannot. Give me 1 second. So when you look at the leaders at the running back position, I mean, look who's at the top of the heap. As you know, the running back position always has injuries. Khalil Herbert's there because of an injury. But when you think about where folks took James Robinson, where folks took Cordell Patterson, and we know why Jamal Williams is here because Swift got hurt. But Swift was rocking. Shoot, Swift's probably still near the top of the heap, even with him being out for the past couple weeks. Swift didn't play. Swift didn't play didn't play last week, and he got hurt in week 3. So consider it, like, keep that in mind. And he's still up here. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when you take all those things into account, running back hasn't been that. Look where folks could have got Edwards-Helaire. Folks weren't as high on Helaire this year. Like, McCaffrey getting taken out too. As bad as you guys feel about how things have been going in Carolina, dude's 5th. Eckler had that big game last week to catapult him where he got drafted, but because people were talking about Eckler before he freaking exploded last week. So you take into account of the numbers, like, look at who's near the top of this list. If you took Taylor, it didn't work out for you because Taylor was already underwhelming before he got hurt. He was already underwhelming. So he wasn't playing at that level. But even the way he was playing, he was still a top 10 guy. He just wasn't number 1 overall guy. And Eckler, like I said before, Eckler wasn't either until last week. But I think as a whole, the position was struggling. I think if you decided to go 0 RB this season, you might have did okay, especially when you look at the receivers, who's at the top of the heap right now. If you decided to go 0 RB this year, you probably did okay because you probably got 2 of these guys. You might have gotten 2 of these guys. So you did all right. And they're out. When you let's look at let's order it by flex, shall we? When you look at who's at the top of the chain, Barclay's 4th. You know what I'm saying? Eckler's 9th. I mean, at flex, the wide receivers are reigning supreme right now. My God, he has. And I wasn't as high on him. I had him in my rankings, but considering where folks took him, it's where it needs to be. Yeah, if you got the space, I agree here. If you got the space. Yup, sure is. Right now he is, even though NTN got a little bit more work last week, so you got to pay attention to that situation. Cobb is getting all the love, man. Yeah, I kind of regret not grabbing Jamal Williams everywhere I had Swift, but that's just a regret type of thing. But it would have been hard anyway because a lot of folks felt like Jamal Williams had value. So Jamal Williams was drafted in a lot of leagues. So when you take that into consideration. He's interesting, but I don't think he's somebody I would start. Because believe it or not, man, the running backs it's pretty much split dead even in fantasy land in Atlanta right now with Patterson out. So I question how much value he truly has. I think there's other options from that standpoint. Oh yeah, you can't drop NTN yet. But I think where NTN was going was way too high. Like, I think people forget that Urban Meyer's no longer the coach. So he had no business drafting NTN in the first place. Because you already had James Robinson, who was the top 5 guy that previous season. So why would you draft NTN? Unless it was just about making Trevor Lawrence comfortable, right? But from the standpoint of really, if you truly needed NTN, no, he didn't. You already had a running back to draft somebody that high. I ain't doing that. I know how everybody feels about DJ Moore. I'm not doing this. I'm starting DJ Moore over Renfro. Shout out to Big Low. All right, it's now 12 o'clock. I can shut this down I'm probably going to shut this down in probably I'll probably stay around till like 12:10. I got to shut it down at 12:10. I disagree. I think you should start more. Even against San Francisco. He's getting the targets, man. At some point, him and Baker are going to have to click. So, but yeah, man. It's kind of, when you start looking at the data, it becomes interesting in hindsight. But now this is something I think we ever would think we'll see. Gotta wait until Darnold comes back. Nah, target's still too high. Geno's a top 10 quarterback, guys. In fantasy, Geno's a top 10 quarterback. And I'm happy for Geno, man, because Geno Smith is a prime example of what happens when you have a terrible organization time after time after time again. That man went to Seattle and replaced Russell Wilson, and it was like Seattle forgot who Russell Wilson was. So I'm very happy for Geno Smith because he is a prime example. And particularly when you talk about bad organizations. Targets is opportunity. Targets is opportunity, man. It's hard to sit somebody when you have that type of opportunity. Yeah, but even with that, even with all those batted passes, bro, DJ Moore still got 11 targets. Those targets meaning went past the batting of the pass. Saquon! He's back. I'm still mad because I lost the touchdown, but it's all right. Dude, but you can't get points without targets. Look at Saquon. Look at Saquon. Go. Look at Saquon. Getting them points. I see you, bro. Oh, dog. Dog, if Baker don't play better, man, I would not be shocked if we see Sam Darnold start again. Not at all. Look at that. Look at Saquon. Shout out to Saquon, man. Out here saving fantasy leagues right now. Imagine if you had Saquon and Hines. How would you feel? How would you have felt right now? Oh, look at that. Look at the Giants. Come on, Saquon. Get these points, baby. Let's get this touchdown. Bro, Barkley doesn't want to hear about being injury prone. Jones got hurt. It all depends if Darnold's ready. The way Matt Rule was saying, Darnold's a few weeks away. I don't think it's a situation where Darnold's just gonna I guess this was a severe high ankle sprain, guys. I don't know if Darnold's gonna be ready week 7. I'm gonna be honest. Truth be told, you might be a different coach week 7 too if you keep it a buck. But we'll pretty sure, depending on how it goes today, me and Rashad will talk all about that tomorrow. Get in there, Saquon! Oh, he came so close. No. Yeah, now this game has officially gotten intense. They don't trust Daniel Jones to be running like that because of his ankle. Uh-oh. Oh. Yeah, now it's getting real. Now it's getting real. All right, so let me it's almost time for me to shut this down, guys, because I gotta get my lineups done. Check out Underdog and do some things. And by the way, shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the best place to play fantasy football, especially with their pick'em game. You can do your hires and lowers. There ain't too many places where you can win 20 times your money, and now they have pick'em insurance where if you can get 4 out of 5 right, you can still get paid. Or 3 out of 4. That from that standpoint. So check out Underdog Fantasy, man. The $100 deposit rate still stands. They're doing best ball tournaments. The best ball tournament starts week 6, guys. $100,000 grand prize winner. Basically, you draft a squad. They put the best players in for you. And you ain't got to worry about it from that standpoint. You just set it and forget it. It's a fun thing to play. But it's a good thing to go roll with. And you can do that for the NBA as well. You can do that for the NFL as well. They're about to start. They're starting to draft for the NBA right now, and it's not just NFL that they do. They do NBA. They do baseball. They do hockey. They do pretty much everything. They do MMA, golf, everything. They got it covered when it comes to that standpoint. If you're into soccer, they do soccer too. Esports, they got you. So check out Underdog Fantasy, guys. And on that note, and Barclay got his TD, and y'all were panicking, and I'm leaving on that note. Appreciate the time. Good luck in fantasy this week, and always remember, keep pounding. Peace, guys. And yes, Shad is going to the game today. But you guys have a lovely evening.